Well, we're here at two Stillwater lakes called Avon Springs in Wiltshire, very close to Stonehenge, a well-known tourist spot. And also, the bonus is, it's right next to the Upper Hampshire Avon, which many of you know. The Hampshire Avon is a really famous river, certainly for barbel and chub downstream. Upstream, it's a trout centre for brown trout fishing. But it's late October, coming in early November, autumn, winter, so that changeover period when a lot of anglers, fly fishermen, think I'm going to have to go to big lures. I've got, great big lures. It's the only thing that's going to catch fish. Well, you're wrong, because even here, and this is a bright day, small nymphs, small flies, and especially damsels, goldhead damsels, and that new fly called a crawler is really successful. And we're going to try and catch some fish and at least show you some of the action you get without going to a big lure. Using that fly, quite a small fly, what sort of retrieve? Is it slow? Is it fast?
No, it's a very slow figure of 8, and often the fish will take just on the lift off, so fish it right through the margins as well.
I noticed a lot of weed in the margins there, so when you say a lot of aquatic insects, what sort of insects they get, even like late in the year like this?
Well, I think sometimes there's still some buzzers coming off, even this late in the year actually, but there's often little shrimps and things that they seem to quite like.
So you're quite happy fishing with a small fly even in the winter. I know a lot of guys say, oh, you want a big lure and strip it back in, you don't feel you need that?
I think the fish here get quite a lot of angling pressure, and so they get wised up fairly quickly to big lures whizzing past their noses, and so sometimes the smaller fly picks out the better fish.
Now down there we've got 2 lakes here, one's floating line, one's sinking intermediate. What were you on there? Were you on the top, even though it's quite cold today? It's cold and bright.
Yeah,
Are the fish still fairly up in the water?
Yeah, I was on a slow intermediate, but in fact I was fishing quite shallow. I was probably only about sort of 18 inches down, I think, when I took the fish.
Well,
and there's some guys catching on floating lines.
I noticed that, yes, yeah. Although it's cold, you see the fish are still up the top. I guess the water temperature hasn't dropped that much, but the air temperature certainly has done. So, well, I appreciate that tip there. I shall go and see if I can catch something. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck to you too.
There's a couple of tips you need to know in the colder weather. A little consideration which might help you cast a bit farther. Fly lines, they all curl up like this. They've got memory from the cold being stored on the reel. And what I do, in fact I do it during the summer as well, but if it's warm you don't need to do it so much. You take the stretch out and you can pull by hand, and what I do, I just put it either side of my knees like this and just ease it. You don't want to snap the fly line, they're not cheap. Just ease it and stretch it. Now if you look at this bit, that's totally limp. You see, you get the coils here, and you just basically just stretch your knees. You'll feel it stretch. You're going to feel it give. And if you do that for about 15 yards, you'll find when you do cast, the line goes out through your guides a lot easier. You get a nice straight cast, and hopefully a fish. Well, there's a smile on my face because this fish took an inordinate amount of time to catch, and we haven't caught it yet. I was fishing very, very slow. Ow! And I just saw a bit of colour move in the water because I'm so used to spotting fish, and just a bit of colour moving, and that was it. And as the fish moved away, I just lifted for another cast, in all fairness. And well, I think I was fishing so slowly, he probably had it anyway, but he's right in the weeds. There's a good chance I'm going to lose him. He's absolutely weeded me now. Come out, come out. We might get a shot. We might get lucky. Get a shot. You see in these clear waters, we were talking about the weed earlier on. That's the downside. There's plenty of weed for plenty of insects. Plenty of weeds to lose the fish in as well. Don't think I can even get. It's going to steer him around this way. Oh. Sometimes you ever get it that you just want the fish to roll over and die. It's all right for that guy up in that aeroplane. He can spot them easier than me. Oh dear me. Nerve-wracking. And deep water. Come on. Come on. I think. Yeah. Yeehaw! That's a nice fish. Took a while to come. But what can I say? I'm pleased with that one. My goodness, that was a hard-earned trout. And look, the fly just fell out. I'm not even going to pull it. It just fell out. It's just sucked it right back down its throat. Chewed the oblivion out of it. Look at that. Little weighted damsel. I think it's one of Sid Knight's weighted damsels. Doesn't look like much like a damsel there now. I must admit, it's chewed. To be completely honest with you, I'm very happy with that fish. I've done a lot of casting and I'm used to visual fishing, and you know, I was barely casting up what was a smudge in the water, no more than that, just on instinct. I thought, well, I'm pretty sure it's a fish, but what is it? And it's a nice trout. Again, very, very slow, just a slow retrieve. He must have come up, turn. I saw the shape turn. He must have just sucked it right back down deep. You saw where the hook came right out down his throat. And to be honest, I didn't feel a thing. Now here's the trick. You see people retrieving, obviously they balance the rod like this, and you know, you can be slow stripping, fast stripping, whatever you want, but look at the tip of the rod, how far up that line is from the surface of the water. It's got a huge dip there, and if a trout takes, all he's going to do is that, but a lot less than that. I'm obviously doing that. So if I move that, let's say 1 inch, there, that's an inch. That's about 3 inches. I'm still not pulling tight onto the rod top or through the line, so you don't know that trout's there. And I do put it into or under the water like that, so you're going directly onto the fish. And when you get that trout pull, it's in direct contact to you. There's no stretch, there's no bow in the line. Lift into it much quicker, bang. Of course, when it's colder, a lot of people think the trout just swim a lot slower and feed less, but they've got to remember also all the aquatic life is a lot slowed down. They're a lot more lethargic when it's colder. So even the insect life slow down. So keep your retrieve very slow, either figure of eighting or just short 1-2 inch tweaks like this. What can I say? I couldn't resist one last cast after catching that fish. Green damsel. Again, very, very slow, just crawling it. And bang, he took the line out of my hands. Not a big fish, gratefully accepted, if we get it. Now the other thing you'll notice, I'm playing it off the reel, but I've also taken the ratchet off. That's from my stalking days, when I didn't want a squawking ratchet, which told the other stalkers around the lake that I was stripping my line out ready to cast for a fish, because if they hear the ratchet go, it means they knew I was stripping line to cast at a big double. So this is just out of habit. Guy in the aeroplane's still up there. Let's hope he runs out of fuel soon, hopefully, and lands. Quite hard, it's annoying. Lovely peaceful setting. Here we go. Now, I'll show you this one quickly, because we did ask Barry, we don't want to do any carnage. A returning trout, you're not normally allowed to return trout, especially in the summer. It's very cold here now, so the water temperature's down, a good chance of going away. So Barry said, yeah, you know, if you want to put one back, we'll put it back. Oh, there he is, a beautiful fish, because it's cold. He's very lively. Oh, is he lively? I'm going to get him in the water really quickly. Before you go, look at that beautiful colour there in the cheeks. Beautiful.